This episode is brought to you by Vidya AI, how educators are seeing the usefulness.
Inclusive, or whether AI will support divergent students or not. And I came to a conclusion that unfortunately it will not. And when I started reading the submission, zero creativity. So, okay, ChatGPT is not your doctor.
We can't let technology or AI take the whole of your, of your learning experience.
The actual assessment, they have to present something. They have to create.
Hello, welcome back to Dare to Disrupt, the podcast where we unpack the biggest shift in AI in education and education technology. Joining me today is Dr Mahinour. She's the Director of Teaching and Learning at Ajman University and the founder of Advanced HE in Gulf region. And she's been doing a wonderful work in the AI realm in the region. And I'm very, very pleased to have this special guest with me today. Good morning, Dr. Mahinour.
Morning. Thank you, Derek.
I'm really, really pleased to have you with us today.
Thank you.
And you've been doing so many work, wonderful, a lot of excellent work in terms of AI in education. You're supporting us, and you're also an advisory board member at the AI in Education Forum in UAE here, which is the largest AI in Education forum in the region as well. And I can see a lot of, conferences, a lot of, I even read one of your research paper as well. And when you look into how AI tutor and how educators are seeing the usefulness and also seeing the ease of use and usefulness of that. And you've used technology advanced model as well to see the ease of use and the usefulness, and how those kind of strategies or theories, so to speak, is ensuring that he's also used constructivism, so to speak, in that. I'm just trying to remember that clearly. And then I realized that you're doing a lot of stuff in AI in education technology, and also as a professor yourself in higher education. So it's been a pleasure having you here, and I hope that our listeners today will be able to take some quality information back with them on this episode with us. Without further ado, on this episode, we usually do something where we ask guests to ask one question for the next guest. And our previous guest asked a question, and the question was around how do we support or enhance or celebrate divergent people with AI? How can we ensure that AI is, we are collecting information, or we are being inclusive in our practice, so to speak, with the use of AI in education, while we consider divergent users.
Yeah. Thank you for the lovely introduction. It has been a pleasure working with you. I have been thinking about this question and whether we are actually inclusive, or whether AI will support divergent students or not. And I came to a conclusion that unfortunately it will not. And I know that this might, some of our audience might not like it, but I will give you an example. During the lockdown, so the midterms were online. This semester I was teaching leadership. So I asked my students that the exam will be online. They are allowed to use AI with certain conditions. They have to give me the prompt. They have to give me what did they give to the AI? What is the output? The exam was about a case study, like a scenario about a leadership situation. And surprisingly, I had 59 students. And when I started reading the submission, zero creativity. It's a case study. So even AI, when they're using AI, it's giving them more or less the same. So you can see, I have read this. So it's so similar. Zero creativity. So previously, before AI, when we had assessment, we were looking for model answers, right? The model answers, we put it in the marking scheme, or we taught our students what would the model answer look like. But now with the AI, there is no model answer. It's the model answer coming from the trained model. So more or less, you will find it similar. Interestingly, recently I was in one of the conferences, and honestly, I felt, oh my God, not again. Like all the slides, the same look and feel. So zero creativity. Before, when you used to go to a conference or a forum or any of these kind of things, you would see an awful slide design,
Right.
a beautiful slide design, a way of talking which really inspires you, or, like there was this diversity. Right now, it's copy paste. You are hearing the same vocabulary, you are hearing the same tone, you are seeing almost the same slides. So, personally, I believe that AI will not support or celebrate divergent. On the contrary, it will kill creativity. And it's sad to say this.
Well, when you spoke about creativity, I mean, we've seen a lot of research that said, the most prominent problem with the use of AI is, critical offloading, which is about, students just not being creative anymore, not, and it's affecting their critical thinking. But how do we then ensure that we bring students back in terms of, you have to, we can't let technology or AI take the whole of your, of your learning experience, because it's easy to use AI and pass, graduate and all of that. But that's not what we want. We want them to be able to take something back with them that it's useful in the workplace, or if they want to be an entrepreneur and set up their own business and all of that as well. Because of course we are not always championing our students to do 9 to 5 and they could as well, have their own list. But how do we then ensure that we bring students back to saying you can't? I've heard about a lot of people talking about authentic assessment as well. That has come up a lot in the conversation about, ensuring that our assessment is different and all of those things, to ensure that we provoke that critical thinking and ensure that they are really engaged in that kind of assessment as well.
True.
Properly. So how do we do that from higher education perspective and from a leadership perspective as well? What can leaders do to ensure?
See, again, this will bring us to, is it tool or design and intention?
Yeah.
So when an educator starts with the back end in mind, the intentionality of what actually they want to achieve. So what they want the students to do rather than what do I do with the tool. So it's not about the tool. So AI is an enabler and it will stay. Like we cannot tell faculty, okay, forget about AI, don't use AI, or tell the students don't use AI, because it can't be. It can't be. They have to use it. But when they design their assessment or when they design the learning experience, they have to think about the intention of the entire learning experience for the students. So some of the activities, they have to use AI. Some of the assessment, we cannot avoid AI. So if we look at the assessment, there are different levels of assessing the knowledge, if you will. So if I want to assess like memorization, you can use AI, but at the end of the day, maybe they will be, cheating or whatever. So we have to go to the traditional examination setup where we have invigilator, paper-based, like the very traditional examination setup. And this is not what we really prefer now with all of the tools that we have. But what we really need is, as you mentioned, the authentic assessment, the experience. We want to see the application. How can they apply what they have learned? So they are forced to think. We cannot guarantee that they will not use AI. We still want them to use AI, but it will be the part of like co-thinking. And this is the perfect use of AI. So we want to ensure that they have the base knowledge, they know what exactly they have to do. And then after that, they use AI for the co-creation, like they think with the AI. And then the actual assessment, they have to present something. They have to create something. So it's within the physical environment. It's not online.
Right.
So again, it's authentic assessment where we are connecting what they are learning with real life problems. So it could be, for example, that let's say they took a business case, and then they go to this entity, they go to this business and spend a week or spend some time with the entity and apply what they have learned and come back with a solution.
Right.
So now when we are looking at AI, as we discussed in the latest, remember the round table with the Al Ghurair Foundation and
correct.
AI in education,
Yeah.
we were saying that we don't need students to wait until they graduate, or they don't need to learn coding. Like AI now is not only for engineering or IT students.
Right.
We want to integrate it in a way that students in business, for example, if they are learning about the procurement or finance, they use the AI to solve a real problem. So you are trying to integrate the technology with the creativity.
Right. I thank you very much for that example. I was telling somebody, I was speaking with somebody, and I said, during my master's years back then, um, uh, I had to do a project, and the project was around. We've been told that we'll be doing presentation and all of that at the end of the project, but we had to go to the company itself physically to see how this thing is being done. It was in supply chain management at the University of Wollongong, and I visited Xerox, Middle East, in MENA region, their main office, and I saw how everything is being done, from procurement to manufacturing to. They explained to me and they showed me, and I said, till date, it's stuck. And I can never forget that process. And it gave me, the real life experience that you mentioned about being able to apply what you've learned in real life and seeing how it works. And then some people have mentioned about embedded skill support as well, where you invite people from companies, for example, or from wherever that is actually applicable to the course that you are teaching, and let them explain in the classroom. Let them show people, let them show students, and let students visit as well and see how this thing is being done in real life and not just in the classroom. And I think it's high time we understand that learning is now beyond the classroom.
Definitely.
And you've mentioned relationship in terms of the relationship, relational pedagogy as well. You were saying about the relationship between human and AI. And my question is, how do we ensure we strike that balance to ensure that it's not just technology, but it's also, because you've mentioned it in perspective of students, that students have to be able to use the AI, you want them to use it, but also they should also be the one involved in the whole process. When it comes to academics, how do we ensure this? To ensure that the way we are actually using the tools in the classroom itself is there's synergy between human and AI, and then what we're producing, the kind of assessment that we're setting for students and all of that, and we are fully involved, because we've seen, trust me, we've seen some cases as well in academia where it's not common in academia, but we have to admit. I'm just trying to be careful.
It's common in academia. We are the uncommon.
Just trying to be careful what I say here, but I'm just trying to say that we have to be cognizant of academics as well, and not just students. And as director of teaching and learning, how do you incorporate this to strike the balance and say it's not just about the student, it's about the staff? And this goes back to, training and providing policy making and all of that, and guidelines, rules and regulation, whatever you want to call it, code of practice, whatever you want to call it. How do we ensure we uphold this? Because most of the time we always have this strategy, we always have this code of conduct and all of that. How do we ensure that it's actually very effective from leadership perspective? I know that's a lot of.
This is a very broad question that deserves dedicated
but
podcast.
It's about leadership and ensuring that we are doing exactly what we are preaching, and we're not just saying students that, but what about us as academia as well?
But because you mentioned relational pedagogy, and this
Exactly.
is very close to my heart, so
I know it's close to your heart. Really.
Relational pedagogy.
Yeah.
So as educators, we need to know that behind every student there is a story. So it's not like all size fits all.
Yeah.
Those who show up late, those who seem to be quiet, those who seem to be angry, everyone, they have their own story. So as an educator, as a faculty member, I need to be very aware when I'm dealing with those students. So it's not mechanical. Like teaching is not mechanical. When you are in the classroom, you need to read the room. You need to understand the message that every student is trying to give you. So that again, it's back to the intention of the learning design, of the learning experience fully. So this is one aspect. Integrating AI tools, I believe it's not about the automation and we are using tools for the sake of tools, but it's for freeing up some time from the administrative and repetitive work that we are doing, so that it will allow more time for us as an educator to spend understanding our students. So it's not only about I have the curriculum, I know time it's very limited, and I have assessment and the process and the procedures and advising. There's a whole lot of things. But if we look at AI as an assistive tool that will help us to free up some of our time, so we can dedicate this time to the human aspect, to connect with our students, to understand our students more, to design learning experiences that is more focusing on the human aspect, that promotes creativity, that promotes critical thinking, that unfortunately now I'm seeing students that they are tending to be lazy, if because everything is at their fingertips. Like they cannot do. Yeah, what else could they do? So these are some of the traits. Even like I was attending, I think it was an official thing, and maybe this is somehow again talking about students and a lot of things. Like they were showing up for. I can't remember what was that, but one of the students, she was wearing slippers, like a Crocs.
Oh, okay.
So even like they are watching TikToks, they are watching all of this kind of social, so they don't know when to say what to wear where. So there's a lot of set of skills below even education skill sets that they are really missing. So, and I believe that this is our role as educators. So if we are freeing our time using the AI tools to help us with the admin work, so maybe we can connect more with our students and graduate students who are really ready for the workforce, ready for the communication in the work placement and all of these kind of things. If we go to the leadership, now leadership, they are in it's a critical position that they are in. They have to play the catch-up game, because all the institutions now need to show that they are adopting AI, they are having AIs, they are using AI in all the different units and division. But it's not about, again, as I mentioned earlier, it's not about the automation. It's about how would automation bring a value to our process? And do we need to automate this process? Will it bring a value or it won't? So it's not the catch-up game, or again, taking a box that 100% we are using AI. Like I have seen institutions, they keep talking about everything is AI. And is this the right move? Do we need everything to be AI? Do we need to completely remove the human aspect from the discussion, from everything? Is this the success measure for us? Like everything is now AI. So again, for institutions, they need to be more strategic when implementing and adopting AI. So as I mentioned, whether it will bring value to this process that I will automate it or not, whether it will free and enhance the relationship aspect or not, will it bring back the human values that we are looking for, and unfortunately we are losing some of them or not.
Right. I think when you said about everything you said, something that I pick up from it, and that is very, very important, that let's leave AI out of this this for now, isn't it? Honestly, because I know there is a whole lot of hype about AI this, AI that, AI that. But the question is, as human, how are we interacting? Somebody said human have blood that AI doesn't, and human crave interaction as well, and that it's very, very important. So, for example, online learning and all of those things, and look at what happened recently in the region, and students had to come back online, and they had to study online and all of that, and we can tell that technology is very, very important when you have to make sure that there's contingency plan in place in terms of technology, because without technology we can't achieve those.
Yeah.
But how are we ensuring that students also they understand? So look, the example that you gave, that wearing Crocs to some events, and I work in the university, and I work really closely with students from different cohorts. As an academic, for you guys, you see some particular set of students often. As non-academic, I see all of them, from postgraduate to foundation to year one to final year, and I've seen some of them since the time that they've come for admission till the time that they've graduated. So I see the changes in recent time, and how the behavior have changed. And I don't want to use a derogatory but nonchalant attitude, you can see, like you mentioned, that just but I think that's where we come in as educators as well, that we understand that, again, education goes beyond classroom. That how do we support them with the kind of skill set? So, for example, there was an event, the career event, and students were told to dress for the kind of job they want. I really, really like this, because what you're saying is, it's up to you, but we want to see we want to see what kind of job you're looking for, and employers will be there to interview you, to speak to you, to help you to navigate all of those kind of questions that you might have. So again, we have a lot of when we talk about AI, people are always quick to say negative things about AI and all of that. But again, my question is, do you think what are you hopeful for about the future? Because honestly, I can count like hundreds negative things that people have said about AI, and it can be very depressing sometimes when you think about it. Where are we headed? And we're so unsure of the future. It's so uncertain. But what would you say that we should hold on to in terms of for the future, that we are hopeful for, that this is what education might look like positively, on a positive note? Because on a negative note, there are a lot of things. People are saying, going to take this job, it's going to do this. Students are not going to come to the university anymore. They're going to study from the comfort of their room, do online learning, and already some students are ready. I said, back in the days when they tell us to get inside, it's usually punishment because we want to play outside. Yeah. But these days, when you tell kids to go outside, it's like a punishment. It's the other way, because they want to play with their games, with their things, online, be with the phone and all of that, and screen and all of those things. So what should we be hopeful for years to come in terms of use of AI and all of this, minus all the negativity? The positive things to be hopeful.
That I was so pessimistic. No.
I mean, it has always been like that. I mean, that's why I said that's why it's very difficult to answer that question. Even with me, if I think about it, I feel like, and that's why I need leadership experience from you to help our audience to answer that question. Because for me, it's always about the negative. I can list hundreds, but when you want to think about the positivity, it's very less. And if you think about it, especially if you have kids, you realize that, and it's so uncertain. And I know that, from your experience, you'll be able to help us dissect this question and just give us some hope.
Definitely some.
Yeah.
Let's see which angle will I address it from. See, like the way I see AI right now, again, it's part of the hype. If you recall when the iPad were first introduced, right? And I was part of this project that remove all the papers, remove all the books, everything, and every student should get an iPad. And in a blink of an eye, everyone, all the students had iPads. And we as educators, we had to figure out what kind of applications should they download, how would we replace the books, how would we replace the paper and pens, because we want to be paperless and iPad. Everything they can do it on iPad. It took a couple of years. And what happened afterwards? Do you hear anything more about, like, every student should have an iPad? It became as a tool, an enabler, an assistant, like, but it's not the bread and butter of education. If they don't have an iPad, they will not be able to learn.
Right.
So it is one of the tools. And the way I'm seeing AI, it will be the same as when the internet started, same as like any other tool or enabler come up. So if we look at AI and how do we see it after maybe 5 years from now, I see that everyone might have like their own bot assistant, maybe. Every agents will be more and more and more. And we're not going to talk about the negative side. We are talking about the positive side. Yeah. So having those assistant bots will free more time. They will take up all of those ridiculous, repetitive tasks. What we really want to focus on is to focus more on creativity. It's not only critical thinking, because what I have been seeing is that the creativity is gone somehow. Right now, if we look at our generation, still we don't have a graduate who has fully attended the 4 years of university using AI, right? We didn't have this graduate that maybe starting next year we will have those sort of graduates. So we still have the benchmark. We still have the baseline of knowledge. So even when AI is giving us any sort of information, we can say, no, this is not really right. No, I'm not very happy. Let me go and do something else. For them, they don't have this. So they are just copying and pasting. Till when will they be doing this? I think this is our responsibility. We want to work more with our students, with our graduates, to tell them, again, this is a tool. This is like to keep reminding them, it's not replacing you. Right now, it's the first instinct when they have a question, when they have anything, they are using it as a Google search. So they quickly go, but ChatGPT said this. The other day, my eldest son, he wanted to take some sort of supplements, okay? So I was explaining to him why it's not good. No, but ChatGPT said it's fine. But, okay, ChatGPT is not your doctor, okay? Just hold on, maybe check with the doctor and then see whether it's fine or not. So again, back to your question, we need to make sure that creativity is there. So in the education system, within the projects, within the teaching, we need to ensure that creativity is embedded. So I'm hopeful that after a few years, the human aspect will come more. Like AI will bring up the human aspect in us more.
Right.
So we look more into creativity, into critical thinking, into when we have more time, because a lot of things will be automated. So we'll have time to connect more with each other, to communicate more with each other. Whether do they have the skill or not to communicate, this is a different story. But I believe as educators, like, we need to work on those skills rather than the technical skills.
I really like these answers, honestly. The reason being that, because what you've mentioned, I feel like one thing we should all hold on to, be hopeful about, is that the hype will gradually...
Hopefully.
Exactly. Hopefully. It's like calculator as well. And I was telling somebody that there were, teachers that didn't want us to use calculator back in the days and said you wouldn't know how to solve math and all of that. We turned out well. There were, and then we used calculator, and some people that didn't use it as well. They also, and that's a proof that it's just a tool. At the end of the day, I know AI is different. It's on another level, but then I feel like if we keep reminding them, like you said, that it's just a tool. It's just a tool. Don't let it replace you. Don't let it, don't let it take that creativity. I think creativity is something we don't speak about enough, honestly.
Most of the time it's critical thinking. But, recently I have been thinking about this from the events I'm attending and the conference. And as I told you, when you see everything is the same, so there's no difference between what Mahinour is saying and what they're saying. Okay, I've seen this, I have heard this. And if you recall, like, I think 2 years, the word was ethical and responsible AI. Last year, it's human-centric. Now, what is the new word? Human in the loop.
Human in the loop.
Human in the loop. Yeah. So instead of human-centric, now it's human in the loop. So
I know. And it's, and everyone is AI expert now, isn't it? So it's always AI. So it's just the hype. And it's whatever goes up will come down. I believe that the hype will gradually,
And you
Let's
know, like I just thought about our faculty, and when they come and tell me, okay, so tell us which tool do we use?
yeah,
Okay, that's not which tool do you use. What do you want to achieve? What do you want the students to do? Oh, but you are AI person. You are an expert. It has nothing to do with my expertise, but it has to be with your learning. What do you want the students to achieve? So you can. They sometimes saying that, but how are we going to engage the students without technology? No, you can engage students without technology.
right,
It's again, it's not about the tool. It's about the design, the intention.
right. Yeah, honestly, yeah. The intention has to be there first, and then the objectives. What do you want to achieve? What do you want students to go back, the takeaway and all of that? And then you would then identify that digital tools that you want to use that. And I share that plight as well, because I say the same to that. If it depends on what you want to do, and that's what we decided. So I can't just say use this or use that. And yeah, I know university have some digital tools for STEM and non-STEM and all of that. But at the end of the day, we understand that not one size fits all. And that's why we are saying that this tool is better for STEM subjects and this tool is better for non-STEM subjects. And if you come to me, then I need to know what are you trying to achieve. so yeah, you're right.
And see, with now again, the hype is the quantum computing rather than the cloud computing, the token consumption. So when institutions find that after adopting AI, like their budget has to increase, their finance model has to change because they have to count on the different tools and the different token consumption within the institution. So whether this will make them think, should we reduce the number of tools? Should we reduce the way that we are using AI or not? So it's taking us to a different level as well.
Yeah, honestly. And thank you very much for sharing. I mean that's a very, very useful insight. I would not do the audience justice if you are here as the founder of Advanced HE in the region, and I'm sure people have questions. And as a member myself, I feel like there will be some questions that people would like to ask you, and I could be their, their messenger to ask you that question. What should we be looking forward to in the region in terms of advanced HE and the support that is available for people? And I know it goes beyond fellowship.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things happening in the pipeline, and people would like to know that and how they can get involved as well.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. So when I started the network in 2024, I had one thing in mind, which is recognizing the good practice educators doing all over the region behind the classrooms. Because if I don't know you personally and you don't tell me about what you do in your classroom, who else would, no one would know about it. And this came from my work as a coach with faculty members while they are developing their principal fellow, senior fellow, and across the different recognitions. So I have worked with more than 500 faculty members, reviewing their application, supporting them in writing their application. And honestly, I was fascinated with what is happening behind the classroom or within the institutions that no one is knowing anything about it. So this is why the whole idea came up, that we want to have like a network where we share those good practices, what is working. And it's time to brag and celebrate what we are doing,
Yeah.
Like it's not like it's happening. You have been recognized and you got the recognition from Advanced HE, but not everyone read your application. Not everyone knew what you have done.
Yeah.
The other thing is the reflection. So one of the things is that it puts you in this reflective mode, when you start writing definitely, when you start writing your application, most of the time we are doing things and we don't think why we are doing it. And you need sometimes to pause and think, is this the best way of doing it? Or does it need to be enhanced? Or no, I'm doing great, go on, continue. So the whole idea or the whole network is based on this, to recognize the good practice that we are doing within higher education, to share it with each other and celebrate what we are doing honestly. So last year we had our first forum. It was held at Amity University. So thank you, Amity, for hosting us. And I believe it was a great success. This year, Ajman University will be hosting us. So the registration link I have posted on my LinkedIn. It will be November 6th and 7th. And again, we are not looking only at fellowship. So there are two strands, if you will, for the network. The first one is to support those who are aspiring to get their fellowship, senior fellowship or principal fellowship, by mentoring and coaching and giving them guidance. The other one is to look into our practice, our own teaching and learning. So it's not only celebrating, but even if you are challenging with one of the concepts or the ideas and you want to get feedback or input from others, this would be the place. So it's not another teaching and learning conference.
Exactly. Yeah, I think I really like that when you mentioned that to celebrate what people have done, and the point that you mentioned that not everyone read your application, but we've just seen the recognition, but people don't really know what you actually do. Even until I started writing my own application for my senior fellowship, there were some things that I didn't know that
You did it.
I just did it, and I was like, it's gone. And then when I started reflecting, and this is the good, and if you don't even know how much more other people.
Exactly.
So yeah, I really, really reckon with celebrating one another, and exchanging insights, sharing best practices as well. And I have one question for you, and like I said, if you could ask our next guest one question, what would that be?
Positive or for improvement?
I like that.
What exactly?
Yeah, I mean, it could be any.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so okay. If this person will to start universities from scratch, revamp the education system from scratch, knowing what we are having right now from like the future skills, the requirements, the AI, the type of students that we have, how would this look like? How would the education system look like? How would the new university look like?
I'm sorry to my previous guest, but this question is right on top. And the next guest, I'm really sorry for you. And fingers crossed, hopefully we'll see how our next guest will be, dissecting that question. And I think this is a multi-million-dollar question. And I hope, I can't wait to hear what the answers would be. And on that note, thank you everyone for listening. Thank you very much, Dr. Mahinour, for joining me today. I really, really appreciate it, and I enjoy having this conversation with you as well. Thank you very much. And then for our listeners, if you have any questions or any feedback, don't hesitate to drop us a message. And don't hesitate to visit our website and drop us a message at www.d2dpodcast.com and D2Disrupt on all social media platforms. This episode is brought to you by Vidya AI. Cheers, until next time.